What if the very people entrusted to protect America's natural treasures are being stripped of their ability to do so? A national park ranger, dedicated to preserving our heritage, just lost his dream job. Was this just a cost-cutting measure, or is something far more valuable at stake? This isn't just about one person's livelihood. It's about the future of our national parks. Let's dive in. Brian Gibbs, a passionate environmental educator at Effigy Mounds National Monument in Iowa, was fired on Valentine's Day. Effigy Mounds, a site of immense historical and cultural significance, holds ancient Native American earthworks. This wasn't just a job for Gibbs. It was a deep connection to his home, his family, and his dedication to preserving our nation's heritage. He described it as his dream job, a place where he shared his love for nature and history with countless visitors. But now, that dream has been shattered, and he's not alone. Gibbs is one of about 1,000 National Park Service employees who were recently fired. Parks advocates are sounding the alarm, warning that these layoffs will severely impact the ability of national parks to function, especially as spring break approaches and visitor numbers surge. Imagine understaffed parks, overflowing trash cans, unmaintained trails, and a lack of educational programs. This isn't just an inconvenience. It's a threat to the very integrity of these protected spaces. These cuts are part of a broader plan to reduce federal spending, targeting probationary workers like Gibbs. A probationary period, typically lasting 1 or 2 years, is a trial phase for new government employees. While intended to ensure competence, critics argue that using this period for mass layoffs is a cynical tactic, allowing the government to easily shed staff without due process. Gibbs, who had received high marks in his performance evaluations, was terminated abruptly, even before receiving a formal letter. Effigy Mounds National Monument is more than just a scenic landscape. It's a sacred site, preserving over 200 prehistoric Native American ceremonial and burial mounds. These mounds, shaped like animals, were built between 650 and 1200 AD and hold immense cultural and historical value. Gibbs played a vital role in educating visitors about the significance of these mounds, fostering respect for Native American history and culture. His absence will undoubtedly diminish the park's ability to connect with visitors on a meaningful level. The loss of park rangers like Gibbs has a ripple effect, impacting everything from bathroom cleanliness to trail maintenance and educational programs. As Gibbs himself pointed out, these cuts could force smaller monuments to shut down visitor centers or operate with minimal personnel, essentially functioning as if under a government shutdown. This could lead to increased looting, destruction, and littering, further degrading our national treasures. The implications are far-reaching and deeply concerning. Gibbs wasn't just a park ranger. He was an educator, leading guided hikes, teaching about climate change, and promoting safe interactions with wildlife. He visited classrooms, inspiring students to become stewards of our parks. His passion and dedication were instrumental in fostering a sense of responsibility towards our environment. With his departure, that critical educational component is severely diminished, potentially impacting future generations' understanding and appreciation of our natural world. For Gibbs, Effigy Mounds was more than just a workplace. It was a place of personal significance, a place where he shared special moments with his family. He worries about the potential impact of his job loss on his family, especially with another child on the way. This personal connection underscores the human cost of these budget cuts, highlighting the real lives and families affected by these decisions. This isn't an isolated incident. Ryan Dowdy, a former NASA scientist, also faced a funding freeze after winning a USDA grant for his company, Ready Bar. Dowdy's company aimed to provide meal replacement bars for first responders, using technology developed for astronauts. Despite court orders to unfreeze funds, Dowdy's project remains in limbo, highlighting the widespread impact of these funding freezes on innovation and public service. Dowdy's story is fascinating. He spent years at NASA, managing the food system on the International Space Station. He realized that the nutritional needs of astronauts and first responders were remarkably similar. His Ready Bar uses intermediate moisture products technology, ensuring a long shelf life and sustained energy, crucial for those working in high-stress environments. The potential benefits of his product are clear, yet his progress is stalled by bureaucratic hurdles. Dowdy's USDA grant was highly competitive, offering crucial funding for small businesses without requiring equity or repayment. The grant was intended to help him navigate what's known as the Valley of Death, the challenging period between having a creative idea and bringing it to market. The uncertainty surrounding the grant has put his business plans on hold, impacting his ability to hire employees and scale up production. This highlights the fragility of small businesses and the importance of government support for innovation. Dowdy believed his project, supporting first responders, would receive bipartisan support. He was shocked when his funding was frozen, along with countless others. This highlights the indiscriminate nature of these funding freezes, impacting projects across the political spectrum. The Trump administration claimed the freeze was necessary to review grants, but the long-term consequences for innovation and public service are significant. Following Gibbs' firing, some online commentators questioned the legitimacy of his story. They pointed to his LinkedIn profile, which hadn't been updated to reflect his recent employment with the National Park Service. Lead Stories investigated these claims and confirmed that Gibbs had indeed returned to the National Park Service in 2024. He had simply forgotten to update his LinkedIn profile, a common oversight that fueled unnecessary doubt. Further investigation revealed a U.S. Geological Survey article mentioning Gibbs as NPS staff at Effigy Mound's National Monument. A photo from October 2024 showed him wearing a National Park Service hat. This evidence definitively confirmed his employment and dispelled the false claims circulating online. This serves as a reminder to be cautious about information shared on social media and to verify claims before spreading them. Gibbs' Instagram profile further confirmed his employment, with a post from July 2024 announcing his return to the National Park Service as an education park ranger. He expressed his excitement to oversee the park's education programs and provide outreach in the region. This personal confirmation adds another layer of credibility to his story and highlights his genuine passion for his work. The core issue here is the conflict between budget cuts and conservation. On one hand, there's pressure to reduce government spending. On the other hand, our national parks require adequate funding to protect their natural and cultural resources. Where do we draw the line? Some argue that smaller government leads to greater efficiency, while others believe that underfunding our parks is a recipe for disaster. What's the most effective way to balance these competing priorities? Another perspective is the role of private funding. Should national parks rely more on donations and corporate sponsorships? While this could alleviate some of the financial burden on the government, it also raises concerns about potential conflicts of interest and the commercialization of our public lands. Finding the right balance between public and private funding is crucial to ensuring the long-term sustainability of our parks. The situation unfolding with the national park layoffs can be understood through the lens of the tragedy of the commons. This economic theory, popularized by Garrett Hardin in his 1968 essay, describes a situation where individuals acting independently and rationally according to their own self-interest deplete a shared resource, even when it is clear that it is not in anyone's long-term interest for this to happen. In this case, the commons is the national park system, and the individuals are the decision-makers prioritizing short-term budget cuts over the long-term health and maintenance of these invaluable resources. Hardin's work, deeply rooted in Malthusian thought, highlights the dangers of unchecked population growth and resource depletion. Hardin, G. 1968. The Tragedy of the Commons. Science, 162, 3859, 1243-1248. So, what can be done to address this crisis? One solution is to advocate for increased funding for the National Park Service. Contact your elected officials, write letters, and make your voice heard. Another option is to support organizations like the National Parks Conservation Association, which actively lobbies for park protection. We can also make conscious choices to reduce our environmental impact, minimizing the strain on our natural resources. Individual actions can also make a difference. Volunteer at your local national park, participate in cleanup events, and educate others about the importance of conservation. By working together, we can ensure that our national parks remain vibrant and accessible for future generations. Remember, these parks belong to all of us, and we all have a responsibility to protect them. Ultimately, the future of our national parks depends on our collective commitment to conservation. We need a long-term vision that prioritizes the preservation of our natural and cultural heritage, even in the face of budget constraints. This requires a shift in mindset, recognizing that investing in our parks is an investment in our future. Let's work together to ensure that these precious spaces are protected for generations to come. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more insightful analysis on critical issues affecting our world.